You're watching the Desert Moon Hockey Podcast with Matt and Rich.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 20 of the Desert Moon Hockey Podcast. You might be wondering you're hearing my sexy voice and not Richard's. That's because we have a special guest, and I need to hype this one up because not only, other than the voice actor for Tails, this is the most famous person that knows I exist. But this is the best guest we will ever have on this podcast. We're going to end the podcast after this episode because we can never top it. The man, the myth, the Chad himself, the unreasonably attractive man that is, for some reason, a Calgary Flames fan, Auddie James. What is up, Auddie? Welcome to the pod.
You know, you told me before we recorded, you're like, I got this big thing to hype you up and lead you in. And I'll tell you right now, you did not disappoint. I'm happy to be here, and this has been a long time in the making. So I'm finally happy to be a part of it. But yes, thanks for having me. This is gonna be good.
Yeah, Richard, you got anything? So now we can turn it back to you since I got my little pet
you
project
got your hype out of the way.
Okay, we're going with the hard-hitting questions here. You told me that you're a Penguins fan. Was that because of Sidney Crosby?
So growing up, it's funny actually because like I'm from just outside of Toronto, so I should be a Leafs fan because the Leafs are everything, right? You know that. But no, like my fandom for Pittsburgh actually came from like playing video, like the older NHL video games, not even like the EA NHL. Like I think it was oh god, there was one before. It was like 1999 or something like that. Okay. And I used to play as the Penguins because I love the RoboPen jersey. Like I just like legit, that was the only reason. I'm like, this logo's sweet. And then because, you know, a lot of people do say, oh, you're only a Penguins fan because of Sidney Crosby, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, man, like you're allowed to be like 26 years old and be a Penguins fan for reasons other than Sidney Crosby. But yeah, it just so happened it was a neat little thing that happened, you know, growing up as a Penguins fan, you get gifted one of the best players to ever lace him up. So yeah, no, it wasn't because of Crosby, and I definitely should be a Leafs fan. So it's quite and I cover the Calgary Flames. Just take that all in.
I'm glad you're not a Leafs fan because we only have like 4 Leafs fans we like, and if I'm gonna keep blindly hating the fan base, we need to stop putting faces on them. So more just any other fan base.
I need to watch what I say about the Leafs too, because I can't bite the hand that feeds me, if you know what I'm saying.
That's right. I will trash talk the Leafs, and you can just like, you know, give a couple chuckles, maybe like text me, hey, that's a good one, but just keep it on the down low.
It's okay. I've chirped Steve enough, whether it be on TikTok or Twitter or in the group chat, just about everything to do with the Leafs. So he understands it, and I haven't been fired yet, so I guess that's a good thing.
Let's see here. Oh goodness, you put me on the spot. Okay, so I had for the playoffs, I actually had an All-Canada Cup. I had Toronto going to the Stanley Cup, and I had actually the Flames going to the Stanley Cup. My question to you here is, do you think the Flames can achieve a deep run with the new offseason acquisitions?
What, you don't believe in Kevin Rooney? You don't think Kevin Rooney is going to lead us to the promised land?
No,
He's not Louis Eriksson, so no.
Yeah. Maybe if you signed Louis, maybe we'll be a little bit closer here.
Oh, no. We talk about Mr. Inevitable. Michael Stone will be signed right before training camp starts, so we'll wait for that. But in all seriousness, yeah, and you know what? It's funny. I actually had the exact same cup final. I thought for some reason I put my faith in the Leafs that they were going to finally figure it out. And you know what? To be fair, and I don't want to, like, I know we poo on the Leafs, but, like, to be fair, they were the better team in that Tampa series for a good chunk of that first round. And, you know, in typical Leafs fashion, it collapses in a Game 7 loss. But for Calgary's sake, yeah, it was not the playoffs that they had hoped, or that Daryl Sutter had drawn up, or that Brad Treliving had kind of put together when he made some decent acquisitions at and before the deadline. But going into this year, you know, we talk about losing Johnny Gaudreau and Matthewchuk. Gaudreau walks for nothing. At least Tkachuk had the common courtesy to say that he wanted out before hitting UFA, which was nice. Yeah. But yeah, you get a bit of a haul back. We talked about it before we started recording here. That 2025 first, Cole Schwindt Mackenzie Weegar and Jonathan Huberdeau, who just signed his 8-year extension, which I'm sure will be another question down the road here.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
would
next
imagine.
up.
Look, you're not going to replace, like I always said in like going into this offseason, because there was always the speculation, right? Gaudreau's going to walk. Oh, what's going to happen with Tkachuk? You never replace those two guys, right? You can't really replace what they brought, but
Yeah.
at the same time, bringing in Jonathan Huberdeau, who still finished with 115 points, probably one of the best setup guys in the league, to play on a line with probably Elias Lindholm, who's scored 40 last year and could probably score 50 with a guy like Huberdeau on his wing. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know. It's hard to forecast because, like, I don't think the Flames are done yet. I think there's going to be. I think another top 6 winger should be in the cards. I know everybody's linking Calgary to Kadri still, even though I think Kadri's already signed to New York, but Lou is doing what Lou does and just keeps it hush hush.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be interesting. I don't know, because I still think that and the Flames have 10 defensemen on one-way contracts right now that they probably are going to want to get rid of a guy like Valimaki or something like that along those lines. So maybe that's in the cards to bring in another winger. I don't know. I don't think they're done. I think it's going to be hard to replicate with the team they have right now. Not that they changed drastically, but taking out a 115-point player and a 100-point player in Gaudreau and Tkachuk and replacing it with, Huberdeau, who, again, not scoffing at by any stretch. I'm very happy that was the return for Tkachuk. But you still got to return. You still got to like plug in and backfill other. I don't know. It's tough because I'm still like mentally trying to formulate it all right now. But
it's fair.
Well, I'll get back to you before a week before the season starts, and we'll see how that goes. Because the Flames will have a much better look at what's going on in the rest of their categories there.
Do you think Mangiapane can take a bigger step?
100%. Yeah,
I think so too.
The thing is, too, a lot of people have him slotted to start on that first line. With people are projecting Huberdeau, Lindholm, and Mangiapane. I don't think that's the case. I don't think they should do that because the Mangiapane, Backlund, and Coleman line was like pretty lights out for a shutdown line last year. I don't think you mess that dynamic up and you switch that around. I understand Mangiapane's probably at that level where he can go play on that top line and succeed. But I'm not breaking that lineup. But I do think he takes another step. He took a huge step last year. He scored, 33, 35, something like that. Which, I mean, I don't think a lot of people really projected him to have that good of a year. But, yeah, I think he can take a bigger step. It's definitely there. He's still, I think he's still got a little bit to prove. I don't think he's going to be on that top line, but I think he's still going to have himself a whale of a year next year.
Okay.
What about Connor Zary? Think he slots in somewhere next year? Because that's solid prospect.
Yeah. Zary is Zary's an interesting one. I don't think of the prospects that I think make the jump right away. I don't think Zary's at the top of my list. Jacob Peltier is probably going to be the one who I would think challenges for a spot this year. There's going to be spots open. The Flames still employ Milan Lucic and Sean Monahan that combine for like $11.5 million towards their salary cap to play in the third and fourth line.
Hey, we are the landfill of bad contracts. So
hey, do you guys want a Sean Monahan?
I'm just saying.
Or Milan Lucic?
Monahan and Lucic, but I want at least that Florida first, maybe Connor Zary, and give me something else.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, and not to like segue or get off topic of the prospect talk, but so many Flames fans just think it's going to be so easy to flip the Lucic contract and the Monahan contract, and just call up the Coyotes because they're taking on bad contracts left, right, and center. I'm like, yeah, but you got to pay for them. Like, you're not just the Yotes aren't just taking on bad contracts; they're taking on bad contracts for assets. So it's like.
Yep.
It doesn't, and I think it would be silly to pull a Vancouver Canucks and send the Yotes the last year of bad contracts when they can just be off the books the following season. So I think they can take a page out of the Canucks book and just maybe stay away from that. But back to the to the prospects. Connor Zary is definitely close. He was injured a lot last year. He didn't play a whole lot in the AHL. But Jacob Peltier, showed that he's ready to take the next step. Matthew Phillips has been ready. I just don't think he's a Daryl Sutter guy. He's not big enough, but he's definitely he had one of the best seasons in the AHL last year. So I think there's a couple guys ahead of Connor Zary, but I definitely do think that one of a Stockton graduate will make the opening day roster.
All right.
Do you think Brad Treliving saved his job with what he managed to get back for Tkachuk? Where, to be fair, I understand it was kind of silly to think they would get nothing back, but when you have a player that's like, I don't want to be here, and I'm only going to go to, let's just say it's 4 or 5 teams that he would sign an extension with, you kind of you put a vice grip around the throat of whatever team because hey, you have to move him for one of these teams or he's not going to go. So most of the other teams aren't going to give good value, or they know that it's stacked in their favor.
Oh, absolutely, and that's kind of that was kind of the consensus around Flames Twitter and the fans and the people I talked to within the organization was this was the best case scenario because you look at the hiring of Daryl Sutter. He said straight up he didn't come here to rebuild. He came here to contend. He didn't leave his ranch in Viking, Alberta to come to Calgary and coach a rebuilding franchise. So I think that as long as Daryl Sutter was around, Brad had to do whatever he could to make sure this team stayed competitive. Losing Gaudreau for nothing hurts. And, a lot of people say, oh, well, you got to do something. You got to either trade him or you got to, throw all the back up the Brinks truck or whatever. And I don't fault Brad because he did everything he could. He offered him 8 by 10.5. I think they said they would have been comfortable going up to 11 to try to keep him. You're not trading him at last year's deadline when the Flames are competitive as they are. And they were in a playoff spot. They won the division. It just doesn't make sense.
I think that trading away players when you're going for it is always just really dumb. I feel like it's always a terrible idea.
It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? The fans are going to be pissy if you trade them away at the deadline, and all of a sudden the Flames they miss the playoffs or whatever. Or damned if you don't, you walk him into free agency. He wasn't going to stay. That's the problem. I don't think there was anything that you could have done to try to entice him to stay. His mind was made up that he wanted to go back home. Didn't realize Columbus was that close to Philadelphia, but I digress. Maybe my geography's off, but last I heard it wasn't the close. It's closer than Calgary, but he wasn't going to stay. There's only so much you can do as a GM when it comes to backing up the Brinks truck. If a guy's got his mindset that he's not going to stay, he's not going to stay. I don't fault Brad for that whatsoever. Yeah. He did what he could. They offered him the big bucks. And the guy walks. It's part of the business. It happens, teams. It happens to teams every now and then. The Islanders. It happened with them with Tavares, and I don't fault John either because I understand that you earn the right to go where you want when you hit UFA. If that's not in Calgary, it's not in Calgary.
Hey, think of it this way. At least you're not the Coyotes where somebody wants to walk and you don't even have the money to pay them, okay? So just think of it that way. We've watched plenty of guys walk away, including Kyle Turris and many others. So we know the pain, but it's okay. Our redemption arc is coming back. I'm gonna huff on the copium here. I'm going to say the arena is going to get built. Austin Matthews is going to be digging the shovel into the ground. And all the
I hope so.
All the Toronto fans will be very angry.
Look, point, I only want Matthews here because I want the hockey Twitter reaction. And I want it to happen while they're still at ASU because I want to the crap storm, just so that way Richard doesn't have to edit later. The crap storm has been glorious. And that's just at the prospect of the Coyotes being able to get Matthews. But if they get him and they're playing in front of 3,200 fans, 300 fans, however many they can fit into that building. It's such a small building. But if he's playing in front of that and they manage to go to the playoffs, I don't care if they get swept. The glorious copium going on would be amazing. And I want it for that reason and that reason only.
Yeah, the online reaction is going to be, it's already been crazy. You see people from everywhere, every fan base, every market in the NHL just trying to poo-poo on on the Yotes, and I told you guys, I'm like, man, like I can't be bothered. Is it kind of funny? Yeah, it's a little funny. I'll be honest with you. Like I don't think it's like anything I'm gonna lose sleep over. It's a little funny that an NHL team's gonna be playing out of a college arena, but it's whatever. Like I'm not losing sleep over it. It's not like an embarrassment to the league. It just is what it is. You know, I couldn't care less.
There's only two people that I feel bad for with this new arena situation. It's the season ticket holders that are in the upper bowl that got priced out. I do genuinely feel bad for them because that's terrible, man. Like being priced out of a ticket is brutal, especially I know there's some people that are 10, 20 years up in the upper bowl season ticket holders and not being able to afford it this upcoming years. It's unfortunate. The other one being that I do feel bad for the players. Like I know it's not going to be ideal. Like there's even talks now that like, oh, the away team has to walk through at the actual concourse where the fans will be, right? They have to walk partially through it. Hopefully they can do something really nice to make it look decent so it's not terrible. I mean, there's plenty of arenas where this is also common. I think the football, the Cowboys have something like this. Obviously, that's for the home team, though, not the away team. But we'll see how it goes. Like, I feel like the players might get a little tired of it after 3 years. So I do feel bad for that aspect. But aside from that, like, I think that it's going to be an unreal experience for the fans. Like, I think the fans that are going to be able to go there, like, they're going to love this. Like, I really do.
And honestly, it'd only be an embarrassment to the league if the only scenario I actually would see it as an embarrassment is if, all right, we need to find a new arena. Okay, we can't play at Gila. This is our solution. Like, not just a temporary, and we're also working with Tempe, and we're working with whatever other neighboring city that also allegedly has interest in hosting the Coyotes, so I have a lot of confidence that no matter what, they're going to get an arena. But it's like, nope, we're just going to play 5,000 seats, that's our permanent solution. Then it would be an embarrassment. Then it would be, like, terrible mismanagement and just something
they're trying, right?
Terrible. But if you're actually trying, like the way they are now, it's a short contract with them going to Tempe and entering these negotiations. I just don't see the problem. Boston shared with a college 100 years ago, so literally from the start of the league, the precedent is there. Was it Ottawa had to share with a minor team? Quebec, the glorious Quebec market had to share with a minor team at one point.
San Jose,
San Jose, the Barracuda play in an NHL arena, so at the very least the Barracuda get to have some sort of swag there as opposed to other teams. But it's just the precedent's there for a temporary solution. No one cared when it was Ottawa or Quebec. They only care now because people are mad, especially Quebecers, that it's such a great market. Yet you've lost more NHL franchises than a team that's never turned a profit in 25 years. It's cope. That's all it is. It's pure cope.
Oh yeah. It's always and those Quebec fans are the worst. And even it's not even just the Quebec hockey fans. It's just hockey fans in general. They're like, oh, we got to move to Houston, or we got to move them to Quebec or Kansas City. Like, what? Like, get the hell out of here.
I will say, like, oh goodness, I had a thought and then so I will say, like, a lot of people are missing this part about the arena being in Tempe. Now you have, like, the Coyotes in Tempe. Yes, it sucks, but now you can start to pursue actual corporate sponsors that are going to be around for a long period of time that they weren't going to have in Glendale. And I know your constituents, I think is the word. I'm terrible with words. We're talking about this with like how the arena commands all the advertising, like they're going to get bent over backwards on this. And it's like, yeah, but who owns the arena? Oh, it's the Oakview Group. Have you heard of them before? Does the Oakview Group sound familiar? They've only built like 3 or 4 NHL stadiums. Like, I don't think they're going to get bent over backwards like people are saying with the corporate advertisement dollars.
They probably wouldn't be doing it if they knew they were going to be getting bent over backwards. So
yeah,
it's just my 2 cents. People that run a business and do these kinds of things know a lot more than the common or the average NHL fan will say.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, look at you guys are gonna have a new arena probably before Calgary does, which is crazy because like Calgary's been in desperate need for a new arena.
Yeah.
For different reasons than you guys, but for like a long, long time. Like the Scotiabank Saddle Dome is an ancient relic in this city, and we can't have concerts. We can't have certain shows won't come here because of the shape of the roof and it not being able to structurally support sound systems that hang from the ceiling. The acoustics, like some artists don't even come to Calgary because the goddamn arena is shaped like a saddle. Imagine that, hey? The dip in the saddle. So the acoustics, they don't like the way they sound in the arena. Like I went to see Eric Church probably 4 or 5 years ago at the Saddle Dome, and we had just had a snowstorm the night before. So the structural integrity of the roof, because the roof is a saddle, there was so much snow built up on the top of the roof that he couldn't hang his speakers. He couldn't because it was there was threat that the roof could come caving in.
Wow.
So he had to do it all acoustic, which was an awesome experience. Don't get me wrong, but like it's just like little things like that, like throws a wrench in some guys like freaking world tour or whatever, right? Or North American. It's crazy. But yeah, you guys are gonna have that facility before we do. So,
but what's funny is we have an arena here that's actually the same exact design, but it was built way back when, kind of like the Saddle Dome. So I don't know if you heard like talks when they were talking about like, oh, where are they going to play? And then there was this one called the Veterans Memorial Coliseum. We have an arena here. It's really, really old. It's actually where the original Tucson Roadrunners played.
Phoenix Roadrunners,
sorry. And it's actually the same exact shape. I'm pretty sure it came from like the same architect. The inside's nowhere near the same, but the shape is the exact same. So we drive past it like all the time. Like it's right in kind of the central Phoenix area, and it's just like it's weird when you look at it. You're like, is that a Pringle? Like you're like, what? Like
it's so ridiculous. It's cool to see. Like when I first moved to Calgary, it was cool to see. I was like, oh wow, like this is the Saddle Dome. Like this is awesome. It's like you embrace the whole yeehaw that is Calgary and the Saddle Dome and everything and all that. But not practical whatsoever. Old as dirt. Just like the whole arena needs a facelift. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to hopefully a new arena in this city sometime soon. But you guys are gonna have yours before we do.
I mean, hey,
that's something you can run in everybody's face.
Back. They have an arena already there.
Right? If the Flames if the Flames don't get an arena, let's just move them to Houston. Like what, dude?
Like the Battle of Alberta, like is one of the greatest things to watch. Like I don't know, like if
must see TV.
Like Matt, I don't know if you're on it, but like every time they play, I'm always turning that on. Like it is literally blood sports watching those two teams go at it. It's amazing hockey.
I watched some of the playoffs. I didn't really know how bad it. I don't know if it's because like take offense, don't take offense. I'm not trying to be offensive. I don't take Calgary or Edmonton all that seriously as teams because I feel like they have a similar problem with the Coyotes where they don't capitalize that much like in the modern era on their good roster. So I was like, oh, they're probably good but not great. But what that playoff series was the ones I got to watch when I was available to watch, and like even just the highlights after, I'm like it's ridiculous. It's actually really fun TV.
It really got ignited again in the past like 2 or 3 years. Well, obviously that playoff series was huge, but there was the feud between Matthewchuk and Zack Kassian that just like it lasted forever. It went on forever. It was the whole turtle thing. Like stay off the rails if you don't want to get hit, stay off the tracks or whatever. The Matthewchuk friendship tour was birthed after that. Like it made for really good. Like they marketed it pretty well with like, I mean like Oilers Nation and Flames Nation were making merch. The Flames were making merch. The Oilers were making merch. Like everybody was profiting from it. And it was a lot of fun. Like everybody here, like I said, I've only been in Calgary for this will be, 8 years now. Yeah, so I've been in Calgary for 8 years. But like the Battle of Alberta really became a thing like 2 or 3 years ago. It like reignited. Yeah. Like in the 80s, it was a goddamn bloodbath. Like that was like people wanting to kill each other hockey. Like incredible. And those two teams were like they were good back in the day too. Like those were a couple good teams. Like the late '80s Flames when they went on and won that cup, and the Oilers with all their plethora of talent that was there. And like guys like McSorley and you had Tim Hunter and all these like big bad bullies of the '80s.
Yeah.
But then obviously hockey changed and you don't see those kind of players anymore. But I think Matthewchuk and Zack Kassian really like reignited it with their hatred towards each other and their turtling and their fighting, and it made for a great playoff series.
And now both those players aren't on either team.
You stole my idea, Rich.
Yeah.
Right, you're gonna steal my idea. I'll go ahead and steal the next topic. I want to talk about arenas real quick because I think it'd be funny. So, obviously, Canadians understand the concept of arena far away. That leads to attendance sucking, especially if the team's not very good. I guarantee you can add a little more context, but Ottawa comes to mind. It's not in a very great location. Let me
interject real quick. I lived in Ottawa for 6 years, and it was great because I lived on the opposite end of the city, so it was a quick whoop whoop in and out, and I was at Sens games and home before some people were even out of the parking lot. But do go on. I know a lot of people complain about Ottawa. I friggin' loved it. I loved the location because it was so close to where I lived.
That sounds like me with the Coyotes arena because I always lived on 135th in Glendale. You're not going to have any reference for that, but it's within 20 minutes of the arena. Yeah. My dad worked there. I practically grew up there. I just spent all my time there. That's why I love the location. But it's when the arena's not in the best area, it's a little bit further out, you get lower attendance. And I forget if Richard was saying, was it the Eastern Conference Finals or the Cup Finals? I think it was Conference Finals.
It is the Conference Finals. Yeah,
Conference Finals.
Yeah, they ended up having the tarp off seats in Ottawa.
So they understand the concept. If the arena's not in a good location, it can negatively impact attendance. I know it's grade 1 talk, but it's how come when you translate that to the Coyotes, they don't seem to understand that? Does it just come from hatred of the Coyotes, or is it some other factor? I want a Canadian perspective on that.
Oh, geez, that's a good question because like it's hard for me because like I told you, like it doesn't like what's been happening in with the Coyotes has been like I don't know. For me, looking outside, looking in, it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like whatever. Like I don't like it doesn't affect me either way. I don't care. Like I'm not gonna take this away from Yotes fans. Because like obviously you guys have had some good teams and some good players come through and I respect that, but I don't know what it is like I don't know if it's because I feel like it's always like you get it from every fan base. You can't even really just pinpoint it to it's just Send fans or it's just Leaf fans because like it's everybody. Like every fan base poo-poos on the Yotes situation and the arena situation and not having like. I feel like attendance issues are all like there's always going to be they're all over the league. Like it's not just the Yotes. It's just that everybody likes to pick on the Yotes because they think it's Gary Bettman's little reclamation project. That Gary Bettman loves the market in Arizona, and he'll do whatever it takes to make sure that hockey succeeds in Arizona. And rightfully, and even if that is the case, rightfully so, man. Like why not? Why not? Like I can't speak for how big hockey is in Arizona. But I would imagine like markets in Canada, like I don't know, Toronto, where everybody comes out of in terms of Canadian hockey, or Western Canada, and like Edmonton and Calgary. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if hockey's that big. Like I'm pretty sure it probably isn't in Arizona. But like I would love for it to be. Like don't you think that would be like just way better for the game? Yeah. Like why do people hate this so much?
I actually wanted to tell you because I think you'll be able to spread the gospel since you'll have a little bit powerful knowledge here. In Arizona, like 10 years ago, a hockey camp took about like a week to fill up, right? It was like a week or two. Now hockey has grown so massively that it camps are literally filling up in like 4 minutes, and that's not hyperbole. Like that is verbatim. They fill up in like 4 minutes now. And it has just gotten it's literally just exploding here. And now we have Josh Doan and Matthew Knives. They're running a camp out here in Arizona for the kids, and like it's blowing up, and that's great for us, obviously. I mean, you can see we keep producing like NHLers. Tage Thompson played here for a little bit, right?
Also Glendale born.
Yeah. Matthew Knives, Josh Doan, obviously Matthews. You know, like we're starting to
Technically,
get.
Matthewchuk was born here.
Yeah, but he
Technically,
didn't.
I'm
He
claiming
didn't.
him.
He didn't play in the system, so I'm not gonna like claim him as our own. But like you're seeing more and more of these Arizona, not born but Arizona raised kids that are just like starting to produce, and that's all because of the Coyotes. Like that is because of their presence here.
Yeah, no, and like, I mean, for me, like, I'm a bigger. Obviously, I have my allegiances on the ice, but like, I'm a bigger hockey fan in general. Like, as just a fan of the game and the sport itself. And growing up playing my whole life, that's kind of just like what you become, right? You always have
Yeah.
your favorite team, but you love the game, right? And that's something, you know, I always wanted to see. You always want to see the game getting better. You always want to see better talent. You always want to see markets like Arizona or like Vegas who took on hockey like that, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden they're an NHL market. Seattle, same thing. You know, like non-traditional or markets that haven't had hockey for, you know, as long as other markets have, picking it up and not only putting out a good product in terms of the pro game, but building like community wise too.
Yeah.
Different programs and people sticking around in Arizona, like the Doans, and continuing to grow the game, which is fantastic. And I don't know if you guys have had the privilege of meeting Shane Doan, one of the most genuine, down to earth, humble.
Oh, yeah.
The guy is just a freaking beauty. Like when I think of like when someone says he's a true pro, a good pro, Shane Doan is like the first person that comes to mind. And it's
He's
not just
also
because
a
he's from.
confirmed liar. It's a
And it's
meme
not-
story. It's a meme story, but he's a confirmed
I
liar.
was like, I don't know what you're going on about. Stop
I
me
don't
dead
know
in my
what
tracks.
I don't know what he's doing either. So I'm curious about this one, but finish up here.
Go on. No,
Oh.
go on. I'm done pumping this liar's tires.
All right,
Screw him.
so, with my dad, you know, we worked at the stadium. He was really close with some of the guys that worked for the team. Jason Rudy is one of the nicest people I ever met as the assistant equipment manager. So I got to spend a lot of the time in the locker room. I got to meet the players so often that like I didn't get starstruck anymore. Then after a decade of being a nobody, I get starstruck again. But that was when I was a kid. So I met Shane Doan after I think it was a preseason game against the Kings. I'll just say 2009 because I don't remember the exact year. And he's like, oh, you know, one day do you want to come have, you know, hot chocolate in the locker room with me? I'm like, yes. And then I never heard back. I never once got it.
He left you on red.
So confirmed liar.
Shane Doan left you on red.
Oh.
Oh, that's sad. As you have his jersey hanging in the background of the
I have
your
multiple,
screen.
because I will still simp for Doan. I got his son's jersey from ASU, and I'm gonna probably buy another one this year, and maybe a Kachina, because the Doans are in this market. There's like four like major legends. Obviously, Devin Booker is starting to kind of make himself the basketball legend here. He's getting there, but
Yeah.
Donor, no one will ever touch him. I swear, you can bring Matthews, McDavid. Throw any other, you know, superstars. They can win 5 cups. Shane Doan's still going to be your best like legend in this market. The Doans are a royal name, which is funny because they are some of the like from I've met at least Shane many times on my birthday, my 10th or 11th birthday when I got that little Doan jersey behind me. I actually saw his daughter. They're getting ready to leave the arena when Donor was talking to me. She comes running down the hallway. She's like, "Daddy, I love you. I miss you." And then I ran away. It's like there's just a really nice family. I don't have a single negative thing to say about them, and I'm just simping for the Doans at this point. But like, Donor,
You're allowed
legend.
Yeah,
Legend in these parts, and nothing will ever change that. The team could move, be gone for 30 years. Shane Doan will still be a recognizable name in this market. Like that's how big like Shane Doan is as a brand, to put it cynically.
When the arena gets built, he will have a statue out front. And Gary
You better.
Bettman.
I will riot.
And Bettman.
You have to.
It'll be Bettman. It'll be Doan holding Bettman up. Like,
Oh,
Hold me,
jeez, that's
Jack.
the Arizona Stanley Cup. It's just Gary Bettman. Gary Bettman.
yeah. Well, what's funny is at Doan's retirement, there was a mixed reaction when Bettman came up. There was actually quite a bit of cheering for Bettman because we know what he's done. Like, if there's one guy who's actually like stood up for the Coyotes, it's been that guy. You know, a lot of people like to give him crap and boo him and all that, but it's just like the Coyotes fans know what he's done for us, and we do very much respect him for that.
Fun little trivia question, Auddie. So, who
Let's hear
would
it.
you expect to get more boos from a Coyotes crowd? Daniel Briere or Gary Bettman?
Well, I'm gonna guess that like I probably know the answer is Daniel Briere, but I don't know why.
So, as I say, retirement thing is everyone loves Briere here. They also consider the
Yeah.
Briere trade one of the worst in
know about
franchise
this.
history. But he mentioned how he tried to recruit Doan
Yep.
from the Coyotes. I don't
tried to
remember
steal
what
him.
team. I'll just say it was Philadelphia because I don't remember. But it's like, yeah, he's talking about at one point he wanted to recruit Donor, and he got some boos when he said that. He even like
Yeah.
kind of
Rightfully
like
so.
praised for
Yeah.
it.
Holy.
Yeah, he's like, I loved Stone so much when I was in Arizona that I tried to get our Flames GM, or not Flames, I was looking at the jersey in the background, our Phillies GM to trade for him. And everybody just starts booing him. They're like, no, how dare you? He's like, yeah, I know.
That's funny. Oh, that's too good. Yeah, I would have never been able to guess that had you not like led me into it.
Yeah, like led you, like set it up. And then Richard kind of like really lobbed the ball up. I just kind of threw it away to get a free assist.
Oh, jeez.
All right.
Yeah.
Richard, you got one?
I do. I'm going to bring this back to the Flames here. I know this is going to be.
Oh, let's do it.
This is the
Everything's Flames.
This is the Desert Flames hockey podcast right now.
Hell
But-
yeah. Hell
All right,
yeah.
so I'm going to name off some names here. Obviously, you're going to know where I'm going with this. And I got to ask you about Huberdeau. Because I like Huberdeau, but I'm going to throw names out here and tell me if he's in the same company as these names. So obviously he's not being paid that $10.5 million this year. It'll be next year. But I'm just going to name off the players that are currently the highest cap hits in the NHL. So first is Connor McDavid at 12.5. Second,
Never heard of him.
yeah, who knows who that guy is?
Grub.
I never heard of that guy before.
You know what's crazy is like I feel like he's like 30 with how he looks, but he's only 25.
He's not aged very well. That's what 8 years.
What's up, God numbers?
That's what 8 years of living in Edmonton will do to you, folks.
That's what 3 years living in Edmonton will do to you. He just double dipped.
He just has, yeah, pretty much.
So second is Panarin at 30. He is 11.6 million. Matthews is third with 11.6 million. Fourth is Erik Karlsson. Oh my God, 11.5. Number 5 is Drew Doughty at 11 million. Number 6 is John Tavares at 11 million. Number 7 is Mitch Marner at 10.9 million. And then tied for the contracts that Huberdeau is being paid is 4 players, which is Jonathan Taves, Carey Price, Patrick Kane, and obviously Huberdeau next year. Do you think he is in good company there in the sense that he can outperform some of those players on that list?
Your argument fell apart as soon as you mentioned Carlson and Doughty. Like I
was going to say,
True.
I have to throw that out.
True.
those were worse contracts when they were signed too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because the cap hit, or the cap was not where. I mean, not that the cap's like anything fantastic now, but like, yeah, okay. So let's talk about that contract because I knew that was gonna come up.
Yeah.
I am okay with it on so many different levels. Calgary has notoriously been known as this place where people come but nobody wants to stay, and I don't know how it built this reputation. I'm not sure if you guys have ever been to Calgary. It is, and I've lived in a lot of places in Canada. It is by far the nicest place I've ever lived in my life, and I will probably never ever leave. And the city is incredible.
I have friends.
No, go ahead.
I have friends who live in Calgary, and they've vlogged, and they were like just walking around. It was like some convention. This was before the pandemic, and it was just like, wow, that city is beautiful. Like it is really clean
Gorgeous.
and well kept, and yeah.
Yeah, and you're so close to the Rockies too. On a nice day, like if I look out my front porch on a nice day, I can see the Rocky Mountains, and like I'm a 45-minute drive from being in the mountains. It's just I don't know.
So what you're telling me is
so
you
nice.
need to find all the Brent Burns in the league. That'll keep them around.
all the bushwhackers, yeah, all those guys. But like it's grown this name that like nobody wants to stay in Calgary, and it was Gaudreau, it was Tkachuk who wants to leave, and players. Obviously Ginla stayed here for a long time, but eventually he wanted to leave too and go pursue a cup, and it was nothing to do with the city. That was just strictly him trying to finish his career on a high note, which people understand.
Yeah.
But Calgary has a very hard time with retention of superstars or retention of stars. So acquiring Huberdeau in that trade, was great, and everybody was like, okay, this will be a big win if he stays, because nobody ever stays in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
We always acquire the 1-year Kawhi Leonard guys, and they leave.
Yeah.
They go somewhere else, right? So I'm okay with it. He put up 115 points last year. He's defensively a better player than Johnny Gaudreau, so I was okay with the Flames giving him the same money that they were going to give Johnny Gaudreau. Now, Johnny Gaudreau had a fantastic defensive season last year, better than he's ever had in his career. His two-way game was at an all-time high.
Yeah.
And that's because of a full year under Daryl Sutter. I am so excited to see what Daryl Sutter can do to Jonathan Huberdeau to make him a better defense. Not that he's like he's not a defensive specialist by any stretch.
Yeah.
But he's a better, outside of a Daryl Sutter system, he's a better two-way player than Johnny Gaudreau was outside of his Daryl Sutter system. So that $10.5 million it's a lot of money, and the cap's going to go up, so I'm not even worried about it. By the time we're in the middle of that contract, the salary cap will be, higher than it is now, and the Flames won't be paying after this season. We talked about it. Monahan and Lucic are combining for like $12 million to the salary cap. They're not going to be making that money. So the Flames are going to be in an okay position when it comes to having to re-sign guys like Lindholm and such down the line. I'm okay with it because it means he's staying. The Flames and commitment from stars, like I mentioned before, has been something that just hasn't been a perfect marriage. So the fact that somebody of that caliber hasn't even played a game in Calgary, hasn't even been to Calgary yet since he's been traded, and hasn't been to the city, hasn't done, all of his media availabilities have been via Zoom so far. And he put pen to paper for 8 years. I know the money's a lot, but he's going to stay in Calgary for 8 years when he could have went anywhere else he wanted to after this season. It means a lot, and I'm cool with it. I don't know. What, from the outside looking in, I want to know, what do you guys think? Because sure, maybe I have the Flames goggles on, and I'm gonna make every situation in Calgary land look perfect. But what do you think from the outside looking in?
So for me, I would say that it's a little rich, and the reason I argued was because currently he's not very defensively responsible. He is very deficient in the defensive zone, but that was under the Panthers. And you bringing up Daryl Sutter is a very good point. I never thought about that, and he's fast enough to be a two-way player, and he's smart, right?
For sure.
Like you can, those smart guys can figure it out really easy. So saying that, I was like, actually, that's a really good point. I'm still hesitant because I want to see him under Daryl Sutter and see how he does defensively. If he can be a very respectable two-way guy, I think it's absolutely worth it. It shows to your market that you got a guy, and you're gonna have him for 8 years, and then also, oh goodness, there was another point I was gonna say. I'm gonna have to throw it away. Matt, you got something? Because I'll come
I
back.
do actually. So I don't think the money is the problem at all. I think that's fair market value, especially he's mostly 25 to 30 goal scorer. That's good around the league, but also he in 80 games, so he missed a couple of games, had more than 82 assists. So he was above an assist per game player while playing 82. Then he take
also
off
playing with Sam Bennett and Anthony Duclair. Like he played with he turned Sam Bennett into a 25 goal scorer.
Yeah.
He picked up Calgary's spare parts and said, "Here, I'll make you a superstar. Or I'll make you a star." He's going to be playing with Elias Lindholm. He's going to be playing with a goal scorer.
So
I don't know.
The money, I think, is fair market value. That was never my problem. My problem is it starts when he's 30 and it's 8 years, and we see it all the time in the NHL, and I will always throw my pot shots because I don't understand why GMs, we constantly see, we have to move this contract. This contract's terrible. If Lucic signed for 2 less years, would his contract still have been terrible? It would have been bad, but would it have been as bad as it is? If Kassian signs for a year less, Louis Eriksson signs for a year or 2 less, are these contracts anywhere near as bad? So I'm looking at this he's great right now. When the contract starts from 30 to 33, that's usually the tail end of your prime, he'd probably still be easily worth $10.5 million. But then you have another 5 years on top of that. I know you're not concerned about the cap, But the problem is it's also based on league revenues, and they can go up and down. They were really up this year. It's a really good
Fluctuate,
sign.
yep.
But we still have the basic of a 37-year-old, 38-year-old is going to be getting paid 10.5, and the statistical likelihood he is going to be worth that 10.5 cap hit is, I would say, just a statistic pulled directly from my anus here, about 8.5%, because it gets lower and lower, like being able to be worth that much. So that is my concern, is the length, not the number. The number is I think fair. He probably could have got a little more on the open market, so that's fair. But I think if it would have capped off at no more than 6, I wouldn't have many complaints.
Put all this. Okay, so let's just say right now you're a Flames fan now. You say screw the Coyotes. I want to go cheer for a real team. I'm a Flames fan now. That was a drive by. That was not necessary. I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
No, that's all right.
Fun.
That's pretty tame for shots taken at a Coyotes fan. So
I could see so, yeah. Okay, so listen here then. If you're a Flames fan, if the Flames win a cup in the next 3 or 4 years, does the contract matter? Does the tail end of that deal matter if he helps bring a cup to Calgary?
My
answer is hell no.
Yeah.
Theoretically, it should not. The thing is, I've been alive for championships. I've never been aware. I've never watched the championships, so I never got that feeling. Mm-hmm. Theoretically, it should not, because you got your cup.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm used to the failure aspect. I'm used to never reaching that potential. That it's equally as valid to ask, if they don't win that cup, does the contract end up looking worse? Because it's, even if they do win that cup, let's say, again, it's still a 6-year contract, so you shave a couple of years off, they still win that cup, does it not look that much better? Because it's just to me, it's foresight. It's just great player. But when you hit 30, and some players can defy the aging process. I know Jaromir Jagr was ridiculously good for far too long. That
forever
man is a treasure, forever a Flame, and forever a Robo Penguin, because that logo is phenomenal. I love that logo. Bring it back. But it's just that lack of foresight, and it's nothing against the player. It's nothing, in that aspect. It's just, I've seen enough, hey, we're trying to trade this dead contract for over a decade, where it's like, why do you keep adding on those extra couple of years? That's just my one thing. But theoretically, since I don't have personal experience, it should not, or probably would not matter if they win that cup in the next 3 years.
For sure. And it's just it seems like maybe a silly argument, but it's like, I don't know. I understand it, like, from, and it's a market thing too, like I said about superstars and stars leaving this market. You have to pay to keep players here. The Flames are going to be in a completely different position 4 years from now, with everybody except for him and Rasmus Andersson off the books. So it's going to be, it's a foresight thing too there, right? Where it's like, you just don't really know yet. It's hard to gauge, but I'm okay with it. I know a lot of Flames fans are okay with it, and everybody outside of the market just hates it, because they're like, oh, this is an overpay. The Flames suck, especially all those dummies up the QE2 in Edmonton. they're the same way. But
I mean, they heard that with Draisaitl when that contract was first signed too. Like,
and that's what they're comparing it to. They're all comparing it to. They're all comparing. Oh well, Draisaitl makes it. Yeah, Draisaitl's underpaid.
Yeah, well, at the time he
Draisaitl doesn't make enough money. Yeah, now he's underpaid, but at the time it was like it was the same thing.
Yeah, the thing I'll say is, like, would you deal with 4 years of a bad contract but a Stanley Cup, or would you deal with 30 plus years of no Stanley Cup, like the Coyotes, like Vancouver, like Toronto? Like, I would take that bet 4 bad years.
Taking that cup
every single day, every day.
I'm so comfortable with losing. It's just it's like comfort food. It's like, oh, the Coyotes lost again tonight. I feel safe and secure.
Yeah,
it's a good point. That's a good point. The Coyotes are like your
I don't have to be let down, because I
don't even know. That made me think though. Like, what is my comfort food? Like, what's a good comfort food?
Stuffed crust pizza.
I was gonna say it's got to be some pizza. Got to be pizza, or like some kind of pasta. I'm Italian, so like
my favorite comfort food was chicken fried steak with gravy on top.
Yeah, okay. I'm in Canada. I don't know what the hell chicken fried steak is. We don't have that.
Oh, you got to come down. It's great.
What the hell's a chicken fried steak? I've had Waffle House. Does that count?
So no, it's a steak, but you bread it like a chicken, and it's like, oh, it's the best. It's so good.
For Americans, we deep fry everything.
Yeah, we deep fry everything.
I've never tried it. Deep fried Twinkies.
Oh, I've had those.
Churros. I'm pretty sure you could get deep fried like cheese. Mozzarella sticks.
They did so. Like the Calgary Stampede is obviously a very big thing, and they do this big midway with all the food vendors and whatnot. They had mac and cheese ice cream this year, which apparently was a hit. But they also did deep fried cheese curds, like from you guys. Obviously, like poutine. You know poutine.
Yep.
Seen it. Never tried it.
Yeah,
You've never had poutine.
Yeah,
we have poutine at Gila River Arena. I never tried it.
I've never.
My brother-in-law loves it.
I had to. I had to change my diet when that came around, so I've never been able to.
Oh my God! Oh God! I'm gonna go have a poutine for lunch after this, just to spite you guys.
It sounds amazing. Like I'll say this.
Stupid
also,
Americans, maybe they don't deserve a hockey team.
Those dummies. Actually, I really want some Waffle House right now.
Also, I see the ketchup chips up there, and damn, does that sound amazing! I'm a big ketchup aficionado, and.
Have you guys never had ketchup chips?
I've had them once. There was one time where we had a grocery store that was carrying those specialty chips that you guys have up in Canada. And I got
that's just normal.
I know, for us it's specialty. And like the crazy flavor ones, I'm just like, this is amazing. And then I've never seen them ever again after that.
Okay, hold on. I gotta write something down. I'm gonna send you guys a care package.
Not talking about like fish and chips. I'm assuming we're not talking about French fries with ketchup. I'm assuming that's not what we're talking about.
No. Actual like
potato chips, like Lay's.
Chips. I can't. What is that? What?
Oh, it's amazing. I will ketchup everything. So like the wave.
It's so good.
Like, have you ever had like the wave chips and then have you dipped them in ketchup? Like, it's the best.
I've never done that.
It's
because we have ketchup
Ruffles.
chips.
Yeah, the Ruffles. I literally like Ruffle ketchup. Yeah, I'm insane. So it's okay.
So have you guys had all dressed chips?
Nope.
All dressed isn't a flavor there?
Nope. I know what it is. It's like where you put all the flavors on at once,
This is
right?
just a Letterkenny skit. This is literally just a scene from Letter. I've seen that show where it's like, oh, do they have running water down there? It's also how I stole that joke and repurposed it for like when Canadian fans get mad about like 2-month-old Coyotes news. I'm like, oh, they don't have running water or active internet up there.
Yeah. Like when the photos came out, like he had a hit piece on this. Like the photos came out onto national news. Like. The first look at the Coyotes photos, and it's just like, dude, those photos have been out for like 2 months. Like, where are you? Like, hello?
On our podcast live, it's episode 20, so now it would be 4 episodes ago. And I played a little bit of that clip before the video, and I was just laughing at everyone. I'm like, this has been readily available. I'm not a respected news site. I'm not a respected journalist. I'm literally less than a nobody. How is a respected journalist not looked at the Coyotes website, just clicked around?
Yeah, especially like Katie String, who's just like putting out hit piece after hit piece of like information that she didn't even call on to know whether it was true or not. Like, you're telling me you found the subclause about how the Coyotes can't put their logo down, but then also failed to even call the school to ask, but like you didn't nobody found these photos, really?
So I wrote that story. I'm taking full credit. We have timestamps to prove it. I am better than all of you. Thank you very much. You know what? I forgot to ask this. So I guess we'll just. I want to do a little segment. Since we got a Flames fan, I think we should just roast. Let's do a little bit of a roast.
Oh God.
So since there's all these great arenas, Quebec and Houston, and we have. A couple of garbage franchises / arena situations like Ottawa and Calgary. How about we do a little switch up? So here's my proposal.
Man.
Here's my proposal.
All right, let's hear it.
So Canada can keep the worst of the two teams. So unfortunately, Calgary has to go to Quebec.
Oh.
And then Ottawa goes to Houston to become the Houston Coyotes, and then we have a Arizona and Houston Coyotes rivalry.
So you're saying Calgary and Ottawa have to square off.
Yes.
And Calgary is going to be the worst team out of that one.
You guys don't have Alex DeBrincat, I'm sorry. Yeah, I have to sit for Ottawa a little bit, but we have
Ottawa
seen this happen
Senators
before. They're not going to be as good as they probably should be with
the
that roster.
Sens get rid of Matt Murray and bring in one gingery boy in Claude Giroux, and all of a sudden they're God's gift or they're Canada's gift to hockey, eh?
Yes, sir. Eh?
Oh jeez. Oh jeez. I don't even you kind of proposed this before we came on about like, oh, we're gonna do a roast. And I'm like, Frank, okay, I gotta really think of some good ones here. And I'm like, I've used them all already. Like I've already subtly thrown jabs at your disgrace of a franchise and the laughing stock of the NHL. Like I can't really chirp. Like, what's there to chirp that you don't already know?
Oh,
you guys know you're the laughing stock of the league.
How
It's
about
like
we just chirp ourselves?
It's
own
like
ourselves, and we'll just do your job for you.
It's like the
There you go.
DeFranco meme where it's like the noose around his neck. Like first time, like us veteran Coyotes fans, we've been in this position way too many times. Okay,
You guys have heard it all, and quite frankly, 90% of the roasts and chirps that go your way on Twitter are just like I just shake my head. I'm like, what? Like that's the best you could come up with?
Yeah, better roast against like the Canadian team. So, one that I just thought up right now. It's like everything good in Canada. It's American made. So the Flames, you guys got us from Atlanta. You're welcome.
Yeah.
The fake Jets, because they don't even have their own history. The Coyotes still own their history. So the fake Jets get their team from Atlanta. So it's like any chirps. Ours are factual, where it's like the only factual chirp is, the Coyotes are playing in a college arena. That's the only factual one I've heard in months, because everyone else they won't even fill 5K. They're already 2/3 sold.
They're gonna sell out.
Demand. They're not gonna and even if people don't show up, the seats will still be paid for. So they still got your money.
Yeah, they still got the money. It doesn't even matter. Like it's like.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to go to the Pittsburgh game? So I saw 2 tickets. These are cheap, by the way. Very cheap tickets for the Pittsburgh game. 2 seats, $1,000 a piece. I think we should go halvesies. I think we should go to the Pittsburgh game together.
You want me to fly down? I'll come with you.
I couldn't afford 1,000 if I tried. There's also 2 for $850.
So
talking about arenas though, just a quick one. The girlfriend and I went to the. Would have been the Yotes game in Calgary. Wow, God! Before the pandemic, I think because like OEL was still here.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you anybody else on that team other than OEL. I'm drawing a blank. Either way, we were up in the nosebleeds. We're trying to get the true Arizona experience. We're up in the nosebleeds, and it was bad because Calgary didn't even sell out that game, so they came around and they gave us tickets to go sit right behind the net. So I'm like, holy shit, this must be what it feels like to go to a Coyotes game. Like,
my God.
Is this the Coyotes experience?
You just gave me fuel. So I've never had that happen at a Coyotes game, but I'm not going to say it never has. But at the Arizona Rattlers home opener 2 years ago, my wife and I bought $5 tickets in the upper bowls. And because they didn't sell at the lower section because it was just off the pandemic, so I'm assuming it's hard to get people to buy tickets. We got upgrades like right next to the bench, like right next to where the Rattlers players were. It's an arena football team, meaning officially per Auddie James, per an official Canadian source, the Arizona Rattlers are technically a better franchise than the Calgary Flames.
Wait now, hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. I didn't even know arena football existed until I started seeing you post about it.
If you fly down here next year, I don't care how much the tickets are. I'm not renewing my season tickets, but I get free tickets a lot of times anyway. I kind of want to buy like right up on like the first row. If you come down here, I will buy as close as I can possibly get. We'll go to an arena football game. I'll show you what a real football
he's offered them to me, but I've been busy and I really want to go because I'm curious to see how it plays out.
I'm sure no matter what, it's better than the CFL.
Probably
the CFL
that was the jab I was going for.
It is. You don't even have to. I'll do the drive by myself. That league is bad. Bad.
Well, lucky for you, I've never watched a minute of the CFL. So.
Oh, you're not missing much. 3 down football. 3 down football. 3 downs. The balls are bigger. You got bigger balls up here. You ever listen to? I don't know if you guys are country music fans at all. There's a Canadian country singer named Tim Hicks. He sings a song called "We Got Better" or "We Got Stronger Beer," and it's basically just him comparing stuff in the U.S. to things in Canada. I would recommend giving it a listen. It's actually kind of funny. But his one verse in Stronger Beer is, we both got pro football, but we got bigger balls and longer fields and one less down.
Of course, Canadians would brag about having bigger balls in their hands. Okay, that
Yep.
makes sense to me, boys. All right.
I
But
got
longer fields.
I gotta drive this back to the hockey real quick here. I want to talk about cap space stuff because this is something that I was thinking about probably in my sleep because I'm insane. But I feel like a lot of people don't mention this is the constant harassment to the Coyotes that's actually like somewhat legitimate is like, okay, the cap space isn't going up because of the Coyotes. They don't turn a profit. Well, they haven't turned a profit for 25 years. They have taken out the max on what they can receive from the league. And remember, 4 teams in this league make up like 25% of the profits of the league. Okay? Like, first of all, let's be transparent here. I don't think the cap space is not going up because the Coyotes aren't turning a profit. But something that people fail to address with the lack of cap space is like anytime the cap goes up, people just think that's, oh, like let's say there's 32 teams, cap space goes up $1 million. That's $32 million that you can bring into the league. Well, the thing is that there's only maybe 10 or 15 teams that actually spend to the cap, right? So that cap space that goes up isn't $32 million. It's $15 million. But what's interesting about the Coyotes that people like to harp on, like, oh, you're the reason the cap space is so bad. But the Coyotes have taken on almost $10 million in bad contracts. And when we're talking like apples to apples here of like cap space not going up, let's say it does go up $1 million and you get an extra $15 million total of the people that will spend up to the cap, the Coyotes are taking on almost as much in bad contracts as they are giving, like if that argument is true, that they're giving away from the cap space not going up. And it was just something I've been needing to say because I thought about it like a week or two ago, and I'm just like, I need to say this, damn it, because so many people don't think about this. Like, obviously, I'm not saying that it's great to see a bottom feeder team like take on contracts just to stay afloat. Like, that's not great. We saw that with the Coyotes in like 2014, 2015 when they were below the cap floor and they were taking on bad contracts to get to the floor so that they didn't have to spend as much. But like there is an ecosystem there that people are just not even recognizing and not even acknowledging. Yeah, you guys don't have to comment, but I was thinking about this like sometime last week and I'm just like, dude, like even if we are a problem, we're also contributing to like the ecosystem to help out teams that are against the cap ceiling.
Swear to God, if you do not, whatever gods, all the gods, sure. I swear to God, if you do not put this as a side segment called like Richard's Soapbox, I will quit the podcast. That was phenomenal. That was
really
great.
well. That was really well said. When you said that you don't have to comment, I'm like, thank God, because you already like I'm going to sound like an idiot if I say something next. That's a good point, though. I never quite thought of it that way.
Yeah.
One thing I always thought would be funny is if you could trade cap space for a year. You know, like the Yotes have like
that'd be amazing. Yeah,
the Yotes have like 10 million in cap space, and like you know they send 5 of it to like the Flames who are trying to like bring in talent at the deadline kind of thing.
Yeah,
pay out the ass for it, but
yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
All
I
these
think
transactions
that would be practical.
Cash.
I think that would be hilarious. Yeah, exactly. Yes, it would be hilarious, but it would be not practical.
So something I also wanted to bring up, because I hear this from a lot of Canadians, is like, oh, we need to move to a luxury tax system like in the MLB. But the problem is like the numbers I just said are so important. 4 teams make up 25% of the revenues in the NHL. 4 teams. Like those teams that are going to benefit to the luxury cap are 4 teams. And we see how bad and apparent this is in the MLB. I think it's the Dodgers are spending $230 million, whereas like the Orioles are spending $20 million. That's 10 times the cap space or the cap that's being used. Like 10 times. Like I get that like luxury tax would help everybody, but like there's a reason why like Bettman does it the way he does. He wants transparency where you see the Flames, they're like, the fans are like, all right, we have hope that we can make it deep and we can win a Stanley Cup. We, whether you're the Florida Panthers, right? We have hope that we can make it deep and win a Stanley Cup. Like if you're going up against the LA Dodgers, right, and you're the Baltimore Orioles, there's no way. You're like, we're gonna get blown the F out. Like that's why like I feel like the hard cap is actually a really, really good thing. I think that it does add that, I forget the word, not transparency.
The parity? Are you looking for
Yeah, parity. Like it adds a really
Yeah.
good parity where like you're not seeing just absolute wagons just steamroll their way through to a championship just by pure money. It's like, I feel like that's really good for helping. I don't know.
Well, it also helps, like I said, balance it for small markets. I'm someone that when the MLB, I wanted them to have, there needs to be a cap floors. That way everyone has to try. I'm like, what about a cap ceiling? Because the D-backs cannot afford $220 million to like the Mets or the Dodgers or someone else can afford to spend, because we are still a smaller market when it comes to baseball. So it's like, I feel like the hard cap is there for a reason, and it should be there. But you also notice the only people that want a luxury tax system are the people that are fans of some of those big franchises that would benefit the most from it. And I had another point that I just remembered and forgot again. So, Auddie, if you got something to add on here.
I was gonna say that's why the Blue Jays are so perpetually mediocre, because they are just known for being cheap. They had a couple good runs in 16 and 17, or no, 15 and 16.
Yeah.
But either way, it's like, now all of a sudden the Blue Jays are starting to spend. It's like, oh wow, like what's going on here? Like we got some like, what's going on here? Like Rogers is like, oh wow, we can spend on the Blue Jays now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't think that a luxury tax would ever really work in hockey. You would just have so many teams that would just continue to be crap, and like, teams that don't make a whole lot of money that are just never going to spend.
Yep.
Right. And then you'll have those big four teams that continue to always overspend and pay out the rear end for everything.
Yep.
And they'll just run the league. There's no parity that way. That's why the hard cap is there for a reason. So anybody who says that they want otherwise is wrong. You're wrong. That's all I have to say.
Richie, I think I remember my point real quick, but so how relatively common were dynasties way before there was any sort of salary cap in hockey? I can think of at least a handful off the top of my head. Yet, in the salary cap era, they had to change the definition of a dynasty to 3 and 5 years for the Blackhawks to qualify, and Tampa Bay is the closest we've gotten to the actual 3 and 4 years dynasty.
Yeah.
The cap is a big reason why, because, hey, you're really good for a couple of years, you built your team the right way through the draft, salaries keep going up, you won a cup, great. Now you're going to have to cut a couple of guys because you got a couple expiring contracts, you want to keep them, they're going to need a pay raise. So your team is still going to be good, but not as overpowered. Like, you can't just, like in baseball, Toronto, I can afford $225 million because we have so much in revenue. Oakland for baseball, but we'll use Arizona as the punching bag for hockey. That's what it always is. Well, our market cap, we can only really afford to spend $50 million, essentially.
I actually have a really good system that I think would really help out with everybody. I don't know how easy this would be to implement, but I think one of the biggest flaws with a hard cap system is the taxes, right? It's something that Biz harps on. It's a funny joke, but it's true. Like, Tampa Bay gets to afford to make an amazing team because they can spend less on players because of state taxes and federal taxes and stuff. I would like to see a system. This is just like fantasy land here, where it looks at the percentage of all those numbers, and then you can get a little bit more cap space because of whatever your tax situation is in your market. So I think that would really help out, and that would make the playing field pretty fair. If you want to make that argument for like consistency and like transparency, or not transparency, parity. I keep wanting to say transparency. For parity in the league, like, give a little bit more cap space to the teams that pay a little bit more in taxes to those players, and that allows a little bit of a more consistent, a little bit more consistency there.
think
like that
Auddie can
idea.
probably confirm this. That would probably greatly help a lot of Canadian
Yep.
Every
teams. Because
single
how many
Canadian
times
market.
they lose players because this might be hyperbole. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like what, somewhere around 50% in terms of like taxes from your salary over in Canada.
Did you say 15?
50.
I don't think it's that much,
I
but
think-
it's like
Quebec is the
35?
worst. Yeah, Quebec is the worst, and it's like somewhere but just shy of 40%.
yeah, it's I want to say like generally like 35, which
So it's like a lot of Canadian markets can keep their players because we'll pay you the exact same amount you'd be getting in take home in Tampa and Columbus, Arizona.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that would like completely level the playing ground, and then there would be no, oh well, I want to go here because I'm going to make more money here, like because it's a tax-free state or whatever, right? I don't
Yeah.
really know how many of those
There
exist,
is.
and
Yeah.
but like yeah, that would level things out. Like that's a big reason why a lot of people leave Canadian markets, right? That's why it's
Yep.
so crazy to see a Jonathan Huberdeau signing, and that's why the Flames also have to give him $10.5 million so he can make whatever percentage that he's actually going to make in that contract, right? So
Yep.
yeah, it's interesting, and actually something that I don't know the whole backstory or how it really works, but his contract is very signing bonus driven. So it's like pretty much buyout proof, but that's like they had to work that in, like, and you get taxed less for your signing bonus than you do a salary. So like that's why you see a lot of teams in Canada give out very signing bonus heavy contracts.
Well,
Like I think Mitch Marner makes.
You can also hide the money
Mitch
really easy too.
Right, which is it's kind of like a loophole in the Canadian like tax system or whatever.
Yeah.
But like Mitch Marner, another example, makes like a boatload of signing bonus on his contract. I think I can't remember how much he makes in actual salary, but it's very minimal. So like that's why you'll see a lot of that in Canada too.
Yeah. Yeah, signing bonuses, what you can do is you can immediately just toss it into like stock markets and stuff, and then you don't have to pay taxes until you pull it out.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it helps the team, it helps the player, and makes it buyout proof.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you still could buy the contract out, but you're essentially paying them the entirety of anyway.
Yeah,
It's also
everybody's like, why don't we just buy out?
Get traded after signing bonuses are paid? Because Arizona, I don't want to pay Phil Kessel's $7 million signing bonus. You
only got to pay him $1 million. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, eh?
You know what? Auddie, you got any questions for us since we're hitting the final stretch of the pod? I think we've exhausted ours except for just some memey stuff. So
no, like I think that I want to be on more. Like like have me on another time, please.
Literally, give us a call, shoot me a text or a DM. I don't care if we have anyone besides Shane Doan. I was going to say that now. Even if Josh Doan is on, I can kick Josh Doan off the pod for Auddie James because he's preferential.
Oh, that means a lot. But no, honestly, if time permits, I'll come. I want to come back on. This was good. I learned a lot. I hope you guys learned a little about the Flames, and maybe you'll want to follow the Flaming Sea a little bit closer this year. I'm going to try to follow the Yotes. I always have tried to follow like as much as I can. But it's just so hard because like we only get certain games in Canada, and then I had the what do you call it? Is it Game Center? My brother and I shared it last year, where you get all the games.
Yeah.
But they're switching that now in Canada to Sportsnet now.
Yeah.
Which is garbage. I'm not doing that at all. I will not be supporting that. So there's no more Game Center in Canada. It's just Sportsnet now that is monopolizing that. So
the secret is to buy the NHL package and then buy a VPN, and bada bing, bada boom. Or I'm gonna be a shill. I'm gonna be a shill. Opera GX, give us a sponsorship here. You can use Opera GX, and you can have your own free VPN. You can watch Opera GX. Opera GX, please
allow me to shill better because I'm much more better with this stuff. You can also just watch my videos because on AZ Sports Guy, typically after every game I'll do a recap, but also with now we have the podcast going into the season. We'll also talk about whatever's going on throughout the week. So if you ever have no time, but like you're driving somewhere, watch AC Sports Guy.
I need to get into so much.
There you go.
So much more media this year. I just want to consume everybody's. It's just there's so many people to support, and it's like, oh my god, I only have so much time in the day. Yes, I definitely will, and like if you guys will have me back, I'll definitely come back on.
You gotta play all the videos on 2x speed
for free.
Put them all on 2x speed.
Dude, I talk too fast at regular. You think poor Auddie on the freeway with like double fisting coffee and like Tim Hortons, like
Tim Hortons
bits or whatever.
You're gonna sound
the
Bieber balls. The Bieber balls.
You're gonna sound like the kid from was it the Wild Thornberries or whatever?
Yeah. Oh Jesus, boys! No, that's good. It's gonna be busy this hockey season for me, but I'll make some time. If I've got time, I'll make sure I come back on if you'll have me.
All right.
And then Richie and I will always make time if your big time Canadian boys need a couple small Arizona boys to show up and show them a thing or two.
There's a reason why I have a list of people who I would like to recommend for certain positions. So we'll have to keep that in mind when the powers that be decide to do expansion, which we met about. So
if you're curious about what he's talking about, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh league, and he knows
Yu-Gi-Oh. Yes,
so it's unstoppable. Really, I spam dragons on the field.
I've been sitting here for weeks. I've been wanting to show this off to the pod. Okay, this is my binder, and it's Pokemon cards. We were talking about this like a few weeks back about Pokemon cards. I dug out the Pokemon cards. And I just want to show I got them. I got the cards.
He's got Squirtle. He's got Charmander. He's not a millionaire. Oh my God! What do you got?
These are they're just all hockey cards.
Okay.
He's
cards
my dad, like a friend, we got his playing cards before he passed away, and he has a ton of baseball cards. I've never gone through to see if there's any value in them, but I'm not kidding. Like that little thing that you had with your cards in it, that thing that you just showed to the podcast, he probably has at least 15 of those, all full of cards, of baseball cards. And I'm just like, I don't know what's in that, but it could be valuable. The one I wanted to show was I do have a shiny Venusaur. So I wanted to say Bulbasaur. I'm like, nope, that's not it. A shiny Venusaur. So I'm curious to know how much that is. I've never gone and got these appraised, but those
makes me mad that like all my old Pokemon cards, I don't even know where they are.
Yeah, dude,
I don't have any clue where all my cards are from when I was a kid. Like I don't even think they're like at my parents' house. They're probably just like gone.
I had Yu-Gi-Oh cards growing up, and I probably had like a stack like that much of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I don't know where it went. I had all the Zodiac pieces. I had all 5 of them in Japanese. Ooh.
It's saying it's mostly, as you can see, an entire page and a half of mostly just blue eyes, white dragons. The fusions, a bunch of other dragons, because I have a dragon fetish. Not sexually, just I like dragons. I had to clarify that real quick.
Matt's going to identify
other people
as a
aren't
dragon
in on the
memes.
Why are the pages so sticky?
Listen, it's an old binder.
Okay.
I was a little degenerate when I was 17 years old. Listen, what else do you do when you're 17 at 2 in the morning?
Oh, jeez. Oh, what a place
with that, I think Auddie is either going to follow in my footsteps or he needs to go take a shower from this degenerate conversation. So
I gotta go clean out my ears.
Has joined us for episode 20 of the Desert Moon Hockey Podcast. I'm surprised I got him. I'm surprised this man was like, I'll go on this. We call ourselves the garbage spitting chicklets. That's what we are here, is low production values.
No.
And we don't have a biz. But I do have a funny story about biz. I just don't know if I should share it. It involves no pants in a locker room. That's the only thing I can give away right now. But If you come back on, I'll tell the full story. So
I will.
try to
Let's
incentivize
let's save it for the next one. I'm down for sure.
So anyway, Richie, do you want to do your normal? Please
Yes.
like, subscribe,
So-
follow us, and all that.
Yeah, if you can, whatever platform you're listening to us on or watching, please give us a like, a subscription, a follow on all those. And, it really helps us out. We're kind of a smaller podcast, and it really helps feed out the algorithm. As you saw on one of our comments on Twitter, somebody goes, "I've never watched hockey a single minute of my life, but for some reason the algorithm recommended me this video." People like that, it's just like, it's great to see, and that's all from your contributions and efforts of liking and doing all the things that the algorithm likes. As for my shameless plugs, I would like to say, Mr. Auddie James, would you like to give out some of your shameless plugs and where the people can find you and listen to more of your stuff?
They already know him. We're getting his audience with this. Like, no one watching does not know they don't know who we are.
Well, if you haven't heard of me, my name is Auddie James. You can find me on Twitter at Auddie James. Listen to SDPN Sports Game Over Calgary after every Calgary Flames game next season, as well as I will be contributing some video and podcasting content this year to Flames Nation as part of the Nation Network. So you can listen to my beautiful voice there, and if you're subscribed on Hockey TV, you can listen to all of the Alberta Junior Hockey League Drumheller Dragons home games. I will be the play-by-play voice again this season. So if you want to listen to that, go ahead and listen there. Shameless plug over.
I'm just jealous of how deep your guys' voices are, dude. Like, mine is just annoying and shrill and high pitched.
The secret,
I thought mine was too.
Like,
the secret,
going, boys, we're out here. Dude. These are deep voices and whatever.
I need to
have
help
your
you out.
TV voice.
I need to help you out with this, Matt. You just need to add a little bit of the flair. I'm gonna show you. There's a secret program called Voice Meter Banana, and it's just a digital. Oh goodness, I'm drawing a blank on the words, but it's a digital system that allows you to mix your voice, and that's how I add the niceness to my voice, because this microphone is just a little microphone on the end of a headset, but I can make it sound really good because of running it through digital post processing.
Auto-tune. He's got the auto-tune.
Yeah, I do.
I'm just thinking about the Boondocks now. Auto-tune. We're going Boondocks. And all right, go away. I gotta go to the Game On Expo and go talk to the Tails voice actors. You guys can go do whatever you guys are gonna do. If you come down here, if there's any place to get poutine over here, we'll get poutine. If not, I'll suck it up and get my passport and go up to Calgary and I'll try poutine. And if it's bad, I'm gonna keep dogging on Canada.
It's going to be incredible. I'll take you to the best poutine place I know.
All right, good.
If you're seriously down at watching a Flames game in the little micro stadium, let me know, because I'm a partial season ticket holder, and I might be able to work something out. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll have to figure that out. We'll figure that out when, if and when the time comes. But I would say more of a potential when we can talk about.
All right.
Anyway, go away.
Okay. Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me.
We're going to end this podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you later.